Wasabi guys, coming back at you all with another how to build around this commander video. This is one I've been wanting to do for the past couple weeks ever since I saw it. I'm looking forward to next month's The Brothers War set. This year for Wizards of the Coast, it's been kind of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where you can tell they want to sell out, they want to make obnoxious crossovers, they want to trample all over the originality of the game, but then you have sets like The Brothers War. You had some pretty cool designs from Dominaria United, even though there was a lot of power creep there. I think that set succeeded in providing you with new and interesting commander options. The one thing that I've always hated that they did in the past though, is whenever we got an Innistrad set, and this goes back to Eldritch Moon because we're going to be talking about the new Urza and the Meld mechanic, Wizards didn't like taking mechanics from Innistrad sets. It was like pulling teeth, convincing Wizards that we wanted these mechanics from Innistrad to return. So eventually they decided to bring back the flip cards, and then they made flip cards kind of an evergreen thing, where you could find them in just about any set on any plane for any reason. Meld is another one of those mechanics that felt like it was anchored to Innistrad for the Eldrazi reason. You could have two separate creatures, they would combine to form some weird amalgamation. The most common creature and the most relevant one for Commander up to this point has been the one that you could create by using Gisela and Bruna from that same set. Since that was mono white, it made it really difficult to get to the Meld, so when you were actually able to do it, it was a big deal. I wanted to see it again. It was so cool to pull off because normally whenever you play a commander deck, it's about how can you win. When you can meld, it does offer a game within the game. So when you build around Urza Lord Protector and the Might Stone and the Weak Stone, it's not about comboing in the most predictable way, which we will talk about. It is a way to build around them. It's more about doing the thing. You're going to hear that a lot. Because if you've done the thing, you feel like you've succeeded in some way, even if you end up losing the game. You ended up having probably the coolest play out of anyone. So the commander we will be looking at today is Urza Lord Protector. 3 mana white and blue human artificer at 2/4. Artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and an activated ability of 7 mana if you both own and control Urza Lord Protector, and the artifact named the Might Stone and Weak Stone. Exile them, then meld them into Urza Planeswalker. Activate only at sorcery. This is very much a one-time use, but it's because it's so powerful it is a one-time use, and you'll see in a minute, but the Might Stone and the Weak Stone, that is the artifact that we will need to play if we want to do the thing. So obviously it's going to be within your 99. When it enters the battlefield, we choose one of 2 modes. We can draw 2 cards, or give a target creature -5/-5 until end of turn. I have a feeling most people are probably just going to draw 2 cards. You could tap it for 2 colorless, however that mana can't be used to cast non-artifact spells. You could still use it for activated abilities, it just can't be used to cast a creature. That's just a creature to cast a planeswalker or an enchantment. Those are big no-nos. Now why we would want to meld them is because Urza Planeswalker is pretty darn powerful. There's a condition that says once during each of your turns you may activate an additional loyalty ability of Urza Planeswalker, and you have a whopping total of 5 loyalty abilities. The first one is a +2 that says artifact, instant, and sorcery spells you cast this turn cost 2 less to cast, and you gain 2 life. The +1 says draw 2 cards and discard a card. The 0 says create 2 1/1 colorless soldier artifact creature tokens. The -3 says exile target non-land permanent. And the -10 says artifact and planeswalkers you control gain indestructible until end of turn and destroy all non-land permanents. All incredibly useful abilities. Not one of these is trash. So being able to activate any of these twice or any combination of these, adding up to 2 total activations, is going to be amazing, and you're probably going to want to build up to that ult. That is the only thing you're really limited by, is not being able to immediately ult him. You could use the Chain Veil, I think that's a pretty cool synergy. So if you wanted to, you could technically +2 him twice, and then get an additional activation using that -10. I just think any combination of these, if you wanted to -3 twice, if you wanted to 0 twice, if you wanted to +1 twice to get to your next spells, like any combination is a great use of your time. So that's why it's worth melding to get to this. You're going to be spending a lot of resources looking to get to your Urza Planeswalker. It's because in any situation, he could be useful. So let's go over real quickly. It's a very straightforward strategy. To build around Urza, we want to search for the Might Stone and the Weak Stone. We want to do the thing. If we can't do the thing, then there's really no point in playing this commander over a lot of other ones. We want to focus on artifact synergies. I know you have cost reduction for instants and sorceries, but quite frankly, since the card we want to meld with is an artifact, there are really few reasons to actually care about instants and sorceries. They're more of an indirect synergy. We're going to be using them to search for our artifacts, the Might Stone, the Weak Stone again, so those will get some cost reduction, but it's not anything we're going to focus on as a big time synergy. And then cost reduction itself, I think there are ways that you can abuse this. It's obvious if you know the win con, but I can't see us relying solely on the Urza Planeswalker, so if you're able to make your artifacts cost you 1 less, you're going to want to take advantage of that in order to win. Now in searching for the Might Stone and the Weak Stone, you're going to notice that you're going to be limited to mostly instants and sorceries. There are some creatures that will help you search, but the immediate ones that came to my mind were things like Treasure Mage, which unfortunately only searches for 6 or greater, so it's just barely out of range, and then Trophy Mage only searches for 3, so we don't have one that searches for 5. That would have been cool. So those 3-mana wizards that come into play, search for an artifact of a specific cost, they're not going to help you out much. So you're going to use things like Fabricate, Reshape, War of Invention if you really want to go heavy into the Meld, which I don't see why you wouldn't. It's pretty cool. And you will get cost reduction, just remember that. These will cost you 1 less because of Urza, so it will make the deck a bit more competitive in that aspect. As I said, we do have other creatures that could help us search for the Might Stone and the Weak Stone. Oswald Fiddlebender is basically a birthing pod for artifacts. Arkham Daxon has always been great. It's basically like Tinker on an activated ability. Tinker is banned, by the way. But probably my favorite way of searching, and this is a relatively new way of searching for this specific artifact, is Moon's Silver Key. You can pay 1 mana, tap it, and sack it to search your library for an artifact card with a mana ability or a basic land card. You reveal it, put it into your hand. It's very specific, which is why you don't see it in every commander deck. It's not something that's better than, say, a Wayfarer's Bauble, when most people would play Wayfarer's Bauble to ramp up. Moon Silver Key is going to be specifically for tutoring. The Might Stone and Weak Stone has a mana ability which will meet this requirement. Of course, we have plenty of artifact synergies. I think that's what most people are going to be building around Urza for. If you can make any of your artifacts cheaper, it's going to make playing artifacts way more powerful. They didn't need much help because it's been one of the most supported strategies in the entire game. You have things like Vidalcan Archmage, which just draw you a ton of cards. Unwinding Clock can untap the Might Stone and Weak Stone, allowing you to tap them for even more mana. Emery Lurker of the Lock, if you happen to have what we're looking for in the graveyard, you can easily bring it back. Darksteel Forge is an extra line of protection if most of your deck is going to be artifact cards. We have ways of making this significantly cheaper. Again, if you activate Urza's +2 twice, it's only going to cost you 5 mana. Scrap Trawler, Master Transmuter, Bronze Guardian, Affinity for Artifacts being really good on Thought Monitor. Again, it's no secret artifacts have been a strong strategy in the format forever. It's one of the deepest strategies. You're not going to struggle to find anything to support it. You have even more non-artifact ways of supporting your artifact strategies using things like Academy Ruins. Inventor Sphere is another search card. Dance of the Mans can help you recover late game, and Mirrodin Besiege could be a potential win con, or at least a way of knocking out opponents quicker. If you want to get more competitive, I'm not talking about CEDH, I'm just talking about making any kind of casual deck more competitive. Leaning into the cost reduction is probably the way to go. It'll make it easier if you don't have Urza late game. For whatever reason you can't get him out, you could at least replace him with one of these, which will make your other artifacts 1 less. And it's not anything unique. We just had a creature that was released in Dominaria United, Sten Paranoid Partisan. You were limited to choosing one specific card type, however, but the combo, if you know the combo, it's going to involve Sensei's Divining Top. If you're in it for more than just doing the thing, then this is the clear and obvious way that you build around them. There are a ton of pieces to accompany the strategy. You have cards like Reality Chip, Mystic Forge. Pretty much anything that allows you to play a card off the top of your library is going to combo with this. So your Sensei's Divining Top is going to cost you 0 mana because of Urza, or any of those other cards I just mentioned. You'll be able to draw a card, put it on top of your library. You'll be able to play it again off the top for free, and then you just keep doing that until you draw your deck and get to your win cons. And there are numerous ways of winning in an artifact strategy. So if you get through your whole deck and you still can't find a way to win, it's kind of on you. All in all, it's not a super complicated strategy. It is really more of a fun one to get to the Meld with Urza. Once you do that, it could become more of the same where you are looking to combo with Sensei's Divining Top. However, there is that victory in getting to the Meld. You don't always have to win to have fun in Commander, remember that, guys? Sometimes it is about pulling off the incredible play, and bringing back the Meld mechanic from Eldritch Moon was a huge win. I think Wizards really knocked it out of the park with this set. I can't wait to see what other options we have. Hopefully there's more Meld than just the Urza and the Mishra that we've seen. So if you want to see more videos leading up to November set, subscribe to the channel. I really do appreciate it. Commander Void here signing off. I will see you all next time.